Okay, so let's understand the fundamentals of figure drawing. The first thing that we need to talk about is shapes and contours. Well, contour is the outline of a shape, so they kind of go hand in hand. Contour is one of the most basic things in drawing, and beginners mostly draw using contours. So it's definitely the first thing that you need to get good at. And to draw better contours, you first need to understand the shape of the human body. Human body has a distinct shape to it. While the body shape can vary between individuals based on factors such as muscle density, fat distribution, and gender, the overall shape will remain similar. Your task is to understand how the shape varies from person to person and when viewed from different angles. Once you have learned to identify the shapes, drawing the contours and other detail of the body will become much easier. Shapes are also important because that is what's going to decide the overall design of the body. Good shapes means good design and bad shapes mean bad design. But drawing a figure only using contours can make it look stiff and rigid. That's where gesture drawing comes in. Gesture drawing is basically a quick sketch done in 2 minutes or less. The main purpose of gesture drawing is to draw the flow and rhythm of the human body and completely ignore the details like the contour. While it may sound easy, but it's actually quite challenging. The tendency of drawing the details is very hard to get rid of. There is no correct single method of gesture drawing. As long as you get the movement of the body without drawing the details, it's good enough. Some people use straight lines and curves, while others might use only straight lines or only curves. Gesture drawing is mainly done to get rid of the stiffness of your figure drawings. I mean, humans are inherently flexible and expressive beings. We show emotions not just through our faces, but also through our bodies. So gesture drawing can help in making your figure drawings more expressive, unless you are trying to draw a robot. The next fundamental is structure. Structure basically refers to the underlying framework of the human body. You can say that the skeletal system and the muscular system is what defines the structure of the human body, but it's way too complex, so we simplify it. Utilizing basic three-dimensional shapes to define the body structure not only simplifies the process of drawing a pose, but also helps in inventing poses from memory. Drawing human body can be difficult, but drawing simple shapes like boxes and cylinders should be much easier. So what kind of shapes should you be using? Well, it completely depends on your preference and what you feel most comfortable with. Boxes are definitely one of the most simplest ones, and it can also help with perspective. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. Now we need to make the human body look like a human body. And that's where form comes in. Form refers to the overall three-dimensional shape of the human body. I would argue that form is the most important fundamental when it comes to drawing anything, and not just human body. Because if you want to represent a three-dimensional object on a two-dimensional plane, it is important that you understand the form of that object. We use three-dimensional shapes to define the structure of the body, but when defining form, our shapes need to be much more specific. There are many different ways of showing form of an object, and one of the simplest ones is cross contours. Cross contour is like a string that wraps around the body. The shape of the cross contour is essentially the shape of the intersection of that part of the body if you were to slice it. One common mistake people make with cross contour is messing up its perspective. You can avoid this mistake by simply using a reference. Just tie a string to the part of the body that you want to draw and then look at its shape in the mirror. Other ways of defining the form of the body is shading and hatching. In shading, you simply have to define the light, shadow, and core shadow. Or you can also just draw the core shadow and it will also work. But when drawing a human figure, you don't just have to worry about the surface, but also what's underneath the surface. So let's talk about the last fundamental of figure drawing, that is anatomy. Anatomy basically refers to the study of bones and muscles. In medical science, it refers to much more, but we are artists, so we don't need to learn them all. Just so you know that anatomy drawing might be referred as fundamental, but it is not meant for beginners. Anatomy is hard, the most difficult thing that you will learn in art. So do not approach anatomy unless you have a good understanding of other art fundamentals like shapes and forms. Well, you don't have to listen to me, of course, but still, stay away from anatomy or you will just end up wasting your time. Now, why exactly should you learn anatomy? I mean, if you want to draw muscles, you can just use your references, right? Well, of course, if you are only trying to copy, then learning anatomy might not be very useful for you. But why would you only want to copy? Why not create your own thing? Your own characters? Rather than copying it, why not change it to make it look more interesting? Why not design? And to be able to do that, you will need to learn anatomy. And another reason why you should learn anatomy is it will feel great. You know, the fact that you are more skilled than most people. I mean, that's one of my motivations. You can also teach it to other people if you want. More knowledge, more opportunity. Well, this is it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.